Welcome back to Ripe Avocados. Today we're going to review Together, brand new horror film directed by Michael Shanks, starring real life lovers Dave Franco and Alison Brie from Community. That's where I know her from. James's James's younger brother, as some people call Dave. Maybe not now. Maybe it's the other way around.
Also doesn't have a criminal record involving some shady shit.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about James. We'll gas up his brother here a little bit. Let's get into it and talk about Together.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day.
Together is honestly a romantic horror story in a way. It involves Alison Brie. She's an elementary school teacher, and her or what's the word I'm looking for? Wannabe music artist Dave Franco, and
Bum.
pretty much, yes. He is also suffering some post-traumatic stress from finding his parents dead in his room, his mom lying next to his father's corpse, which has really brought on some emotional toll to his life. He's kind of distanced himself from Alison Brie, but with Alison Brie getting a new teaching job in the middle of fucking nowhere, them moving in together might bring some, attraction back, some allure to the relationship. But instead, they meet a creepy cult guy in the woods, and they fuse bodies together. So I don't know if that really saved their relationship or not. It was a beautiful ending scene to one of the most grotesque things I've ever laid my eyes upon. This and The Substance both shared that emotion from me. But yeah, it was kind of a tragic ending, I would say.
Yeah, I did like the Substance comp. I thought there were a lot of similarities
Definitely the body horror
throughout
aspect.
this thing. Yeah, and the grotesque aspect of everything too, which I don't think you're a huge fan of, because I remember there's a lot of that in Bring Her Back, and we hated that.
Yeah. Well, watching anyone trying to bite through a giant kitchen knife is pretty disturbing.
Yeah, some might say. So let's do the scores. I went 7.9 for
I
entertainment.
went 8-0 for entertainment.
I went 7.2 for
I went
characters.
7.7 for characters.
Cinematography, I went 8.3.
Cinematography, I went 8.5.
And then writing, I went 7.2.
Writing, I went 7.5.
What? I feel like we just keep giving cinematography like the standout score.
This one
These-
deserved it though.
I agree. I just think it's funny how we can always pick and choose at stuff, but we'll find gleams of
Yeah.
hope within the
Cinematography is the
We'll-
silver
it's-
lining.
And it's a horror movie. We've talked about this extensively. How horror movies, I think, have an extra advantage when it comes to cinematography. Just the way they can make you, as the viewer, like scared of what's going on, a lot easier through their camera work and stuff. But let's do the entertainment first. So, did you like this movie? Did you think it was
I
okay?
I enjoyed this movie. It's not the best movie I've seen this year, but I was thoroughly enjoyed throughout, and I feel like the second half of this movie really picked up. The first half, I think it was more of
Yeah.
a slow burn, kind of bring you into their life, show you their relationship, kind of build the setting of where they're in, and then of course the cave scene happens, and then it slowly starts to unravel from there, and then the last 30 minutes of this movie, 45 minutes of this movie, it just gets bonkers.
Right. And I'd say most horror movies that are good, even the bad ones, do have this ridiculous climax at the end where you just don't really know what's going to happen, and just kind of pedal to the metal.
Shout out
This
weapons.
definitely did that. Shout out. No
Yeah.
spoilers. I haven't seen it yet, but I thought this movie was really scary. Honestly, I jumped quite a few times. Definitely the glass panel scene when he is just in his room doing music research or whatever the case may be, and Alison Brie gets, I guess, possessed for the first time. She's levitating outside of his office door.
No, I don't think she was
But the
possessed. She was just checking in on him. Wanted to see why he wasn't in bed yet.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. I thought the same thing. But how she, yeah, I don't know, that whole scene really freaked me out. I do think just the acting in general was really good in this movie, and we had such a just a very barren area. We're in, I think, New Hampshire or Maine, right?
Something like,
I don't even
or
remember
just
what
like,
the setting was. Yeah,
yeah, I don't even know.
it's not too important. It's just somewhere very isolated, which always brings out the heebie-jeebies in most horror movies. I feel like they're not usually in Manhattan, but some are. I mean, shout out Scream 4.
Shout out
Whatever the one with-
the one Jason Voorhees movie where he's terrorizing a group of teens in New York and he's like
uh,
fist fighting some black guy on a rooftop. Like
yeah, those are probably the outliers. I'd say most horror movies do take place in these barren places, but overall, man, I thought this movie was pretty entertaining. I didn't have anything really negative to say on it in that front. We could probably go to the characters if you're
yeah,
good with that.
yeah. Not a lot
So
in this movie.
not a lot, but I like that. We had we had Dave Franco, Dave Franco and Alison Brie are the leads, obviously, and then there's a teacher at Alison Brie's school who is the third co-star here, also the one of the cult members, and we get to see the origin of how this whole togetherness comes to be.
And I thought he was a great character too. I don't know the actor
Yeah.
that played him, and I probably should have looked that up, but I thought he played the character really
gotcha.
well. He was very unassuming as the creepy villain pretty much the entire movie until the reveal, really, where it's really building up as she's, or unless you thought different.
No, I did not predict it either. At first, I mean, he comes off really weird.
He comes off like
it's more
a guy in a small town and the hot new teacher is working with him and he's like, ooh, maybe I can like, flirt with her a bit. And that's how it comes off at first. And then you realize, oh, his husband died. And he's really just like this emotional guy that's trying to teach Alison Brie that she should stick with Dave Franco and work through the problems. And then it's not till the last 30 minutes you realize, wait, this dude's psycho as shit.
yeah, and also another really creepy ass scene when she's watching the cult video and he's standing right behind her, which I expected that to happen, but very very unsettling.
Also, I thought it
and-
was great that they foreshadowed the fact that he was a cult member and they blasted that right in front of your face. With that picture, the side by side between him and his
Yeah.
husband, it literally looked like both of them morphed together. And I thought that they looked very similar at first, but I never
too.
put two and two together there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which one was supposed to be
Right.
him in that picture. And when they do those in movies, it's a lot of the times it's like the actual actor. It's just like a personal picture that they share. Or sometimes I think they they definitely fabricate them sometimes if they want to create some old plot line. Adam Sandler doesn't do that. He just takes the personal photos of his daughter's ballet reception or whatever. But that was a good twist. I really didn't see it coming. I mean, there's some plot holes you could really get into about like how they didn't notice the bells in his house the first time that they were there, or Alison Brie was there once before, but at the time, like, there really weren't too many inklings of there being a problem, and they do have this. Yeah, I don't know. I think you covered it pretty well. Like, they make it seem like he's an innocent guy, but anytime a horror character or a horror movie has a new character that's introducing the main character, you're like, all right, this dude's probably fucking evil. Let's try and look through this. And like that was the case with Bring Her Back, and that's why we didn't like that as much, because the mom, who ended up being the middleman basically to the underworld, we predicted it from the beginning, and then they just didn't change it up at all. And that's why I think that movie lacked a little bit of substance, whereas this really made you think about it. Honestly, I didn't know if we were going to get a physical supervillain or whatever in this movie. I mean, he kind of takes over the role as the main antagonist at the end, but it's really just this entity that is haunting Dave Franco and Allison Brie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a movie more about just like the trials and tribulations of a relationship, I guess, in a way. It's more focused on that. The whole body horror aspect and cult thing is kind of in the background, but the whole movie is definitely focused on Allison Brie and Dave Franco's relationship, which I thought was amazing because, of course, they're married in real life, and their chemistry on screen was A, fantastic, but also B, I feel like they really captured the essence of a couple that is really going through communication problems. Like, clearly Dave Franco is internalizing a lot of his emotional toll from his parents' death, and he doesn't know like how to be affectionate with Allison Brie because it's taking such a toll on him. And the little remarks he makes, like the little jabs and comments that he responds back to her with versus the things that she responds back with when she gets snappy, I thought they played off each other really, really well.
Yeah, I agree. And that's probably a good way to transition to the cinematography, because I liked the themes they used with, I mean, they take, what's the saying, like, have a baby to fix your marriage or whatever, or your relationship. I mean, they take that to a whole ridiculous level.
Get in your partner's
and
skin to save your relationship.
Right, literally crawl inside their skin. And oh my God, what was the point I was going to make? Oh yeah, I mean, there's a line in the very beginning where she and Dave Franco are talking about maybe ending the relationship, and they say that it's easier to do it now versus later, which is true. And a lot of couples do have these, unfortunately, have these conversations, and then it takes a physical spin-off when they literally can't pull away from one another because of the demonic forces inside them, or whatever the hell it is that's luring each other to intertwine. And
the demonic forces were definitely inside Dave Franco when he decided to plow Allison Brie in an elementary school bathroom.
yeah. Talk about we're on cinematography now, but that was very uncomfortable scenes. I mean, our very uncomfortable scene, just the sound of a piece of his body not exiting the way we were expecting it to. I mean, I kind of foresaw that coming when they were getting into it. I mean, yeah, really, really uncomfortable scene. And I mean, there's just a bunch of scenes towards the end that really gave me just made my stomach upset.
I mean, just seeing that scene where it was Dave Franco and Allison Brie coming out of their rooms, and Allison Brie is doing acrobatics and contorting her body in different ways for them to try finally join in, and their hands are like, you're watching their skin just stretch out as their hands are morphing into each other, and it's disgusting, but you can't take your eyes off the screen. It's not,
correct me if I'm wrong, but the tone of this movie was not complete utter epic horror, to where, what I mean by that is, while Allison Brie is basically crawling like an upside down daddy long leg, she's still like joking, like, oh, I can't do anything. Like, you can hear the human consciousness still in her. Whereas if this was like a Conjuring movie, she would have just
been like
had
screaming.
Some demon voice. Yeah, it would have just been so over the top. And I think, it's something nuts, and it's very consistent in that aspect, to where, I mean, even in the very end, when the teacher reveals himself as like a creep, he's kind of joking about it. He's like, "Oh no, this is gonna be a good thing. Like,
this is
saving
like the
your
start
relationship. Of something great." Yeah, as he like stabs her arm and like gets to her artery or whatever. I mean, yeah, very crude, fucked up horror. What do you call it? A horror
Yeah,
comedy. I like that
yeah.
cornage. Yeah,
And honestly, the
and
comedy did really shine throughout this movie. Again, the last
definitely.
45 minutes had me cracking up at everything. The camera quick panning to Dave Franco, creepy, like creeping in the window. When he's like,
Yeah,
"When the fuck have I known anything about mildew?"
yeah,
Like all that shit
yeah.
had me cracking up. Or when they saw their arm off, and then it just cuts to them
Hmm.
sitting. She's eating a quesadilla or some shit.
Yes, yes. That was a great scene too. I forgot about that one as well. I mean, yeah, I just liked. I really just liked this movie. Honestly, I think it was just super original, and we could probably move to the
Mm.
writing. I mean, we touched on the. There's obviously dark, suspenseful tactics that they're using to make you jump scared. The people are gonna remember the cover scene where he lifts up
Yeah.
the covers. There's a boogeyman under there. I thought their eye contact though, or just their facial expressions, both Dave Franco and Alison Brie were just fantastic. It really exemplifies the horror to a whole nother level. And then they'll throw in a little one liner to keep you on your toes. All right, so the writing, the one plow I told this to you offline. The dogs in the beginning, like number one, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they just revealed basically what was going to happen, and I don't know. I feel like maybe we don't need that scene in the very beginning of the movie. That's just me. But also, how the heck did they get out of the cave? It's just never ever explained. I mean, dogs can't climb rope as far as I'm concerned. But
But
maybe
they
I don't
do
know.
play
Maybe these
football
ones
and
could.
basketball. Shout out Airbud.
That's true. But other than that, I mean, I didn't have any glaring problems with the plot. It's supernatural, so you could poke holes at a lot of stuff because it's not real, obviously. But I thought the story flowed well. They did a great job explaining the
Yeah,
cult. Like you and I were
yeah.
talking about that,
And and
and we don't
you would
always get that.
also mention Bring Her Back, where I feel like they would have explained the cult aspect a little bit more of that, or at least the rituals. You just
Yeah,
kind of see it through the mom watching these VHS tapes, and I mean, it kind of makes sense with the story, but I love a good back lore, so them explaining the cult, making sense of like, I mean, no one knows why the fuck the water is joining people together, but just don't fucking drink
yeah.
stagnant water. That's like rule number one. Oh.
Did they explain why the church fell into the ground either? I don't even know if that was
No, I think,
explained, but
or I think the guy might have just said it like fell through because the ground was soft upon where they built it, but I don't fucking
interesting.
know.
Yeah, I mean it's not that important, but I think what makes a good horror movie is you have crazy suspense and it's just the mystery. And for a good portion of this movie, up until the teacher kind of reveals it for us, we're not entirely sure what's going on. Although I had an inkling just from the dog scene in the beginning. You have an idea what's going on, but you don't really know what's going to happen between Dave Franco and Alison Brie's character. And I mean, if you watch a lot of horror movies, I would have probably guessed they both die or morphed into one another at the end, but it was not something I've seen before.
Yeah,
I'll throw that out
I
there.
that ending really made my jaw drop because I was not expecting that.
Dude,
For some reason I was expecting them to be able to just shift between one or the other. I thought Allison Brie was going to be standing at that door, and when I got Dave Brie in front of my face, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I've seen interviews with them where they're like, I just wish the last version of us was a little bit more flattering." Um, but yeah, it is funny
yeah.
because I heard that Alison Brie, it was Alison Brie's like body pretty much, and then they just put Dave Franco's jawline, Adam's apple, and nose and eyebrows on her.
I'm not a screenwriter, but just you talking about this now, I think it would have looked cooler in the ending had the parents just opened the door and we just see
Mm,
their reaction. Or you hear the voice of not Dave Franco
yes,
or Alison Brie, you just have a voice.
dude,
I
you might
think
have made
that would
the
have been
ending way
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 better.
better right there.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's on the B roll, but you can give me credit at Ray Avocados podcast if if that's
Yeah.
really what you came up with first. I just think that would have worked better. I mean, kind of going off Inception there, but that's probably the only caveats I'd really have with the script. I mean, it's a horror movie. It's not the best horror movie I've ever seen, definitely. All right, so we went 7.8 is our final score here. You can find all of our reviews at Ripe Avocados Podcast on YouTube, on TikTok. We will be back next Tuesday with another one, and you already know what it's going to be. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the weapons review, and stay safe out there. Peace out.
Deuces.